Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're stepping into the shadows to confront a creature that is just this perfect mix of breathtaking beauty and absolute terror. We're diving deep into William Blake's masterpiece, The Tyger.
You know, these lines, they're probably some of the most famous in all of English poetry, right? And for good reason. Just hearing them, you immediately get this incredible, almost hypnotic picture in your head, like a sudden flash of fire in the middle of a pitch-black forest.
And at first glance, you might think, okay, this feels kind of simple. It has this rhythm, this beat that almost sounds like a nursery rhyme. But that's the trick. That simplicity, it's really just a disguise for something way more complex. Something that's actually pretty unsettling.
So what's really going on here? Well, this whole poem, it's basically an interrogation. I mean, it's just one question after another, relentless. And Blake isn't asking the Tyger. No, he's aiming these questions straight at its creator. He's moving past the who and getting right to the why. Like, why would you make something like this? What does this preacher tell us about the whole act of creation itself?
So right away, the poem just throws this incredible paradox at us with that amazing phrase, fearful symmetry. I mean, just think about those two words together. Symmetry's all about balance, perfection, right? But then you have fearful. How can something be perfect and terrifying at the exact same time? That contradiction, that's really the core mystery we're going to unpack.
So, to really get a handle on the Tyger, you've got to meet its polar opposite, the lamb. See, Blake wrote the Tyger as a kind of companion to another one of his poems, The Lamb. And in that poem, everything is simple. A kid asks who made the sweet, gentle lamb and has the answer all ready to go. A loving, kind God made it. But then you flip over to the Tyger and suddenly the speaker is totally lost. He's staring at this beast that's all about raw, destructive power, and he's just got questions.
And this all boils down to the one question that just echoes through the whole poem. Did he who made the lamb make thee? I mean, seriously, how can the same creator, the one we think of as good and loving, also be the one who made both pure, gentle innocence and something so violent and terrifying? It just doesn't seem to add up.
You can feel the speaker just wrestling with this, right? Trying to make these two completely opposite things fit together. If the same God is behind both the lamb and the Tyger, well, what does that say about God? Is he loving? Is he fearsome? Or is he something else entirely? Something that's just way beyond our human ideas of what's good and what's evil?
So, at this point, Blake kind of changes gears. He moves on from asking why this creature was made to how. And to do that, he drops us right into this intense, fiery scene of a blacksmith's workshop.
Yeah, so forget any image you have of a gentle shepherd. This is something else entirely. The creator in this poem is like a master blacksmith, a powerful industrial worker. Blake asks, what the hammer, what the chain, in what furnace was thy brain? This is not a soft, gentle moment of creation. This is loud, it's hot, it's brutal, physical work.
And the words he uses, they just scream effort and even a bit of danger, don't they? It feels like this creator isn't just, building something from a kit. They're literally wrestling with these huge, raw, primal forces. And you just can't help but connect this to what was happening all around Blake at the time. He was living right in the middle of the Industrial Revolution in London with what he famously called those dark satanic mills. This imagery comes straight from that world.
What's really cool is how the poem sounds. The whole structure backs this up. It has this relentless hammering beat. It has that tum-tee rhythm. Listen to it. Tyger, Tyger, burning bright. It sounds exactly like a blacksmith's hammer hitting an anvil over and over. So the very rhythm of the words is the sound of the Tyger being pounded into existence. It's brilliant.
Now, as we get towards the end of the poem, something really important happens. The main question, it twists, it changes. The speaker's awe at the creator's raw power starts to morph into something else, something a lot more disturbing. So, remember at the beginning, the question was all about ability. The speaker was essentially asking, who could possibly be powerful enough to make something like the Tyger? It was a question of sheer strength and skill.
But now, after taking us through that whole fiery forge scene, the question gets deeper. It's not about ability anymore. Now it's about audacity.
And it all comes down to one tiny change in the very last stanza. The word could gets swapped out for the word dare. Now that might not sound like a big deal, but trust me, it changes everything. This is exactly what we're talking about. The move from could to dare. The question stops being, who has the power to do this? And it becomes, who has the nerve? Who would actually dare to do this? It paints a picture of a creator who isn't just powerful, but who's also a risk-taker, maybe even a gambler, willing to set loose something in the world that they can't completely control.
So in the end, if you're looking for a neat and tidy answer from Blake, you're not going to get one. He gives us nothing. The poem basically ends right back where it started, leaving us to just sit with this huge, timeless mystery.
And over the years, the tiger itself has come to mean so many different things. Is it just a symbol for evil in nature? Or maybe it's about us, about humanity's own terrifying ability to create and to destroy. You could even see it as Blake's warning about the Industrial Revolution, about technology getting out of hand. And you know what? It can be all of those things at once.
That's why the poem is a circle, right? It starts and ends with the exact same question. Blake does that on purpose. He's trapping us in this loop because he's not interested in giving us an answer. The whole point is to live with the question. And that right there is why this poem feels so alive today. I mean, Blake was writing this in the 18th century, worried about a creation that its maker couldn't control. Doesn't that sound familiar? Think about it, from stories like Frankenstein to real-world creations like the atom bomb and now artificial intelligence. We are constantly wrestling with the things we create. The poem is like a mirror, forcing us to ask ourselves the same question: what tigers have we dared to create?